I want to ask you, okay, so we kind of talked about some broad. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we move on to that, I wanted to hit a couple things. One is, I find freelancers on a website called Upwork. And that's like I have a freelancer who does all my website. Anytime I'm making a change to the website, I just go to Upwork. I have a person that I have an ongoing relationship with. I just send them an email. Here's what I want. They email me back any questions or whatever. They just email me back.
Found a yeah.
I found my current website person who just makes all the changes that I need to the website. I found on Upwork. And it just hits my account that I have on there for an hourly billing. And you can find.
How much is that hourly billing?
It's just you choose. You pick the contract.
Oh, they give you a quote. Wow, brilliant.
Yeah, they
That's
just
brilliant.
go. I do it for $25 an hour, and then it takes you a little bit of time to find a good one. But once you find a good one and you have that relationship with, I just send her a quick email, boom, and it's done within a day or two, and and it's like, $40 hit on my account, and we've gotten to that point. We're just doing it it's just easier to do that than to do it myself. So what I would tell everybody is to just find a Facebook ads person on Upwork and just pay him to do it, as opposed to spending hours and hours and hours figuring it out.
Right.
And not getting it done very well. This for the small business world, this is the challenge. So the other thing I wanted to touch on is just people's general website. When you'll ask, sometimes a person will call me who is going to sign up for Kidzrock, not a customer, but maybe another school, or the Teacher Zone guys will have a potential customer call me, and I'll check, talk to them. I always look at everybody's websites afterwards to just see what they're all about. Mm-hmm. And 99% of everybody's websites are really terrible. And
I think that's a real problem in our industry.
Yeah, and if you are, spending money on other things, especially driving any traffic to your website, you got to make sure that once you spent that money to get them there, that the website is decent.
Right. And I think it's so easy to neglect the website.
Oh, God, and I just look at them and they're so bad. And it wouldn't take very much to just make the basics work. And everybody makes all the same mistakes. I've made them all too, and it's and it's another one of those things that you just try to do yourself. And it's listen, find some other company's website that really looks good, that has all the right things in mind. It's very easy to just read a few books, or read a few articles that'll tell you, here's what you need to have on your website. Here's what you shouldn't do. Lay it out something like this. Just go for those basics and then hire somebody to just get it done for you. Because spending $200 on a Facebook ad and driving people there and then having them not know what to do when they get to the website and not having I talk to people whose primary thing is teaching kids music lessons to kids, and then you go to the website and the first picture, the only picture on there, has nothing to do with what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not even just a simple button that says get started, learn more, anything. They're just blowing it. And
I'm looking at your website. Okay, go ahead.
And it's one of those things too where I've talked to these people, to other schools quite often, and who'll tell me man, your website looks great. And I've offered people, I've said I'll give you a full little rundown of what you should do to your website for a super cheap consultation fee, next to nothing, and people don't do it. It's they're afraid in our industry to spend a little money on the stuff that actually is going to make a difference. But they'll do a $500 mailer ad or something. You know, that's just not going to do anything.
I'm looking at your website. It's themusicfactoryoc.com. For anyone who's listening, I encourage you to take a look at it. Right when I land on it, you have this nice tagline: "Do something you love, we'll teach you how." You got this "Learn More" button that you're talking about, but it's a simple, clean navigation. But I see lots of pictures of happy kids doing music, and those pictures are huge. One thing that I encourage Kidzrock licensees to do is the more accessible Kidzrock is on your home page, the better you're going to be. Nobody is looking for a rock band for 4 to 7 year olds.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at on your page here under music lessons, it says kids 4 to 7. I haven't clicked on it yet, but I think that's going to take me to Kidzrock. If I have a child in that age group range, one of the questions I might be asking is my kid too young to go to the Music Factory? Well, you haven't said the word Kidzrock yet, but you're saying, "Hey, mom, with the 4 to 7 year old, come here." But then down at the bottom of your home page, you got this nice Kidzrock photo. And the name of the program. A lot of licensees it requires 2, maybe 3 clicks to even find anything about Kidzrock. The ones who have that Kidzrock info on that front page and present it in a way that's talking about the kid and not the program, because Kidzrock doesn't mean anything to anyone up front.
Right. Yeah, it's
only means something once they're in it.
Yeah.
Right. But let's. I want to talk about your story with Kidzrock because it's a unique story. And tell me if I have this right. Sounds like you kind of started off with a bang, nice enrollment numbers, and then you became a little concerned about your retention rates. The head count in the program started to drop. But then something happened, and you brought your numbers back up. And like you said, when we started the call, you got them way up. You're, now up at 30. Can you just kind of walk me through what happened when you first launched, what went wrong, or what stopped working, and then what did you do to fix it?
So when we first started, I think it was spring when we got started, and so the plan was really to do the summer camps.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the gate, we started with summer camps that very first year. So, signed up with you, and then, it was probably like 2 months or so later, 3 months or so later, that summer rolled in. And we had a pretty good initial, summer camp rollout. We had not a ton of camps, but we had 4 or 5 weeks worth and had some, decent attendance and, enough where it was like, okay, that was pretty cool. And, we pretty much made our money back already, on the investment. And then from there, we started doing the after school type of programs. And we built up, to where we had a good 5 or 6 day, we had probably 6 classes scheduled, and we had people in all of them. So we were cruising around with a pretty good, 20 people or so.
That's great.
Where we experienced the drop-off was summer, So last year going into summer, we had a pretty good roster of kids, and then summer hit, and we had a good drop-off, which, is pretty common. We had a big drop-off the last year with our regular student base, too, probably the biggest one I've ever had. So it took me, we had to scale it back to just a couple days of classes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a slow build trying to bring it back. And we were getting people in the classes, but we were not retaining them. So I was having a hard time, growing it. We had maybe just 2 classes going. So I really just kind of dug back in, and I think the big mistake that I made was assuming that the teachers were following the program really well because they had gone through the training once, you know?
Right.
And it's amazing. I guess it shouldn't be shocking at how easily they just fall into, you know, because we're paying them, you know, we're paying the teachers heftily. It's a really good hourly rate. And, you know, but they just fall into just kind of doing what they've done in the past. You know, almost started teaching the class like they were just teaching other bands. And so I really had to dig back in and, like, retrain people. Pull one teacher out who's a great teacher but just isn't great for that kind of class. So made everybody kind of go back through everything. I would say now one of the biggest impactors, so this is what I would tell everybody to do, and I wish I would have done this from the get-go, is that Corey, my partner, and I, we actually are teaching 2 classes ourselves. And that's the best way to just get great at it. You know, because we just follow the script and everything word for word. And we just do everything exactly. We make sure everything's set up exactly the way it's in the books. We follow the program. We follow the class, just word for word. And it's so funny because, like, when we sit in on another teacher's class, it seems like the kids are a little rowdy and he's having a hard, you know, the teacher's having a hard time just really keeping it in order. And then we do a class with the same kind of kids and they're just like, awesome, you know? And I'm like, well, it's just clearly the teacher.
Right.
So teaching the classes ourselves is making a huge, huge difference. And what I like about doing that also is that I think it's like it kind of sparks my creativity as well to come up, because now in the class I'm coming up with ideas and ways to maybe add to the class a little bit, you know, to add a little more value. Just silly things, you know. And it gives me ideas for how to do the concert. So I have some really cool ideas for the next concert to kind of put it over the top, you know, and just make that experience something that the kids are like, no, I definitely want to keep going to the class. Right.
Well, that's great. You know, not. I mean, that's you really were willing to make that commitment by getting in there and teach. I had sent out a few months ago the sort of instructor evaluation and instructor quiz forms. Did you look at those at all or implement them?
Yeah, I've been having them do the quizzes.
And was that helpful? Was it helpful for them or helpful for you?
I think it was helpful for them. I mean, in the sense that, I know they had to do some review and revisit everything. I know they couldn't pass that quiz without reviewing the book. So that tells me that they were just moving past things. It's an interesting thing because, I'll go sit in on the class, and and I don't. In a lot of cases, the teacher isn't purposefully ignoring the program or the curriculum. They think they're doing it right, and it's just little just the slightest of detail, like how they're starting the song with the students,
right?
And I'll go in and sit in, and they're just not doing it the way that it's laid out in the book, And it's like, I think they just go, it's close enough, I think that's how they approach it.
Well, and I think also the training is a wave of information, and then you get in there and you teach it. Not that this would necessarily be the best approach, but I almost would like people to go and teach it first without knowing anything, and then say, now do the training. Yeah. But I do encourage people to go back to it maybe after 2 or 3 classes. So it sounds like for you, putting the teaching under a microscope and making sure that was being implemented correctly really helps with student retention.
Yeah, it's a big one. And then just, sitting in on the classes with the teacher who's doing it and helping them out here and there. Just checking up, make sure they're doing stuff correctly. Making each class a fun, interesting, event for the kids. I'm taking a lot of pictures in the classes.
Okay.
Like at the end of the classes at Corey and I teach, almost every time at the end of class, we're having them like stand around the drum kit and do like a band photo shoot.
And they love that.
Where it's like, it's like, okay, let me see your tough guy faces, and stuff like that. And then, especially with the real young kids, I mean, I feel like you can only really play the songs with them for, and if you follow the book, you really only are teaching the songs for a few minutes.
Right, 5 to 8 minutes.
That's about the extent before they're like, all right, I want to do something else,
Right, right.
So it's like, okay, and so when I follow the program, the time runs out really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh man, so there's days where I'm like, darn it, we didn't even get to sing today. Like, that went by me way too fast, And it's really like, if you do, your opening stuff around the drum and everything properly, it's like the time moves pretty quick. And if you want to do a little end of class recap with the parents, that's a few minutes. It goes by pretty fast.
What I haven't done, which I think would be a good idea, is maybe like once in the course of the 8 or 9 weeks, or maybe a couple times, have the band pose for a band photo, but you don't take the pictures, the parents do, of their kids.
Yeah.
They will jump on it, because like I know, I'm sure this happens too. When the parents come in at the end, they're usually making videos of their kids playing. And they're all doing it. What if you do like, okay, let's grab a couple guitars, let's stand around the drum. Here, let's take the keyboard and tilt it on its side. Okay, parents, let's take a picture of the band. Those will all wind up on Facebook, all of them.
Right, exactly.
I just saw a mom who changed her Facebook profile picture to her daughter playing in a Kidzrock concert.
That's cool.
And if you're really smart about it, hanging behind that drum set is your music studio's banner. So everybody sees, oh, that's where they're doing it.
Yeah.
So using knowing how to do that is great.
Yeah, and I would say the teachers now are getting better too. They'll have like stickers and stuff like that in class to give out for little awards, and we're just doing more and more. And I noticed the kids are coming in. They're dressing sometimes for class.
Yeah.
To be in the band.
They got
and we're going to start
t-shirt on.
Right. Different things like that. And then for the concert, we have one coming up in May. Like, I'm making walk-on music for each band, just like like you see at big concerts.
Right.
So we're going to use
brilliant.
like the Chicago Bulls, walk-out music. So I'm going to pull that into into GarageBand. And I'm going to do like announcer guy voice over it, where I say the kids' names, but it's their rock and roll names that we've come up with.
Yes.
You know, and introduce these kids as the band as they come up. And we've got a fog machine and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to make it so like they just are like, this is the funnest thing ever. And then each band, based on their band name, we're doing a real simple face paint design, like something that we can do real quick. So then all the kids, when they show up that day, like if you're in the pink zucchini monkeys, you get, this is what's going to go on, this is what goes on your face. And then, we're just asking, I have one teacher who's good at that, and I'm asking a couple parents, to volunteer to help out. So everybody, just to make the event a bigger deal. Because, the thing is, they're only up there playing for a couple minutes,
Right.
So it's like I want to do stuff to just make it memorable. And this is really just kind of the same approach I'm trying to take to all the other recitals or band concerts and stuff that we do. Is just, we've talked about those kind of things. Like, you just got to make it something where it's just so far beyond just coming and doing a music lesson. You know, it just has to be like they're just so into the whole long-term experience that they don't quit because of water polo season.
Right, and they're not telling you, but there is a percentage of your Kidzrock customers and probably across your school that maybe decided, you know what, we're gonna drop out after the concert. They decided that they haven't necessarily said anything to you. The concert happens, and if you create this just amazing experience and moment for them, then everyone kind of rethinks that decision. I mean, I've had parents tell me prior to the concert, hey, we're going to take a break, after the December concert. I go, great. And then at the concert, the parents going, oh, how are we going to, we can't take a break from this. This is amazing.
Right.
So, those recitals, those concerts, those are all, every little touch you add to it, is going to build the emotional experience up to be even greater. I mean, I think the face painting idea is awesome.